Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. Please hit like, hit subscribe, share the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, let me bring this guy on.
Good evening. No, yeah, no, maybe. Okay, I would have hoped, that you would have given me a cheap little pop for that at least, But I'll keep it moving. What's up, Streamland? Welcome. Thank you again for hanging out with all of us tonight. I'm JD Rosario from Unstoppable Comics, hanging out with this guy over here, talking to a bunch of talented creators who are putting their money where their mouth is, have a ton of credits, and are willing to share some of their experiences and new projects with you.
All right, cool.
Nice, right? Yeah.
Randy, I'm bringing you in as the voluntary co-host. There you go.
Co-host. I was going to ask. I hope you don't expect me to make up a question out of the blue, but I think
I don't make up questions.
I think I can do it. Hey, folks, I'm Randy Zimmerman. You can find my work over at aerocomics.store. I've been doing Aero Comics off and on since about the mid '80s. Done such works as Tales from the Universe, Spank the Monkey, War of the Worlds, and currently working on a bunch of other things, including the Shadow Kingdom with the great Russ Leach and the Fool. And right now, hopefully over at aerocomics.store, you can pick up a copy of Alice in Chains by myself and Abdul Rashid. It's a great, it's a friendly little book. You can tell by the cover.
Yeah.
A little horrific about a girl who breaks out of her test tube and breaks out of her lab in order to find freedom.
Nice.
Yeah. And while being able to shoot chains out of the palms of her hands at the same time. It's a friendly book.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hey. Hello.
Introduce yourself.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Jeff Haas. I am the writer-creator of The End of All Terminus, which the second issue is now on Kickstarter. Please back it. I don't know if that's pitching too soon, but back it. I'm also a podcaster of the Traversing the Stars podcast. Watch it. And also a publicist, so hire me too. So there it is. Pitch my way in all three different categories in 30 seconds.
There you go.
That's right.
All right, we can shut down the show. We don't have to go anymore. We already done it all. How you doing, Madeleine? Please introduce yourself.
Okay, sure. You have to excuse my voice. I've had really bad allergies, so my voice is kind of doing this. Anyway, I'm Madeleine Holly-Rosing. I'm the writer-creator of the Steampunk Supernatural series, Boston Metaphysical Society, and we currently have a Kickstarter running for our very first hardback of Volume 1.
Nice.
Awesome. Somebody shaving?
The background noise.
That's all right.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just add to the transparency.
This is true. All right, and we, just by the skin of her teeth, Christie.
Oof.
There she is. There she
Christie.
is.
Hey, Christie.
How are
What's up?
you? Oh, I got stuck in LA traffic. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Need to look at camera 2. There you are.
The other camera.
There you go. So, Christie, please introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'm the creator of Demon Bitch, about a low-level demon from the 13th pit of hell where people throw their dog shit in gum wrappers. And she wants to bring the second coming of Armageddon, but the first one never happened because she's a stupid asshole. She's based on girls I hate or just people I despise. And I'm also the president of the Comic Art Professional Society by some fucking grace of God or whatever the hell that is. But there, I run things. So, and I also am running an event upcoming for Free Comic Book Day, first week, called Asian Invasion, celebrating Asian creators. So if they're anything like me, God help the world.
Nice. Now, Christie, real quick, how many of those characters are based on Jay?
Oh, all of them. Totally.
Okay, thank you.
I love what Christie's on because it makes my foul mouth seem tame. You know what I'm saying? I could run it off, but Christie gives me a great run for my money. I mean, she's spitting gold out there sometimes. She's making up new curse words, right off the cuff. And you got to appreciate somebody like that.
Well, being on the West Coast, some of the people on the East Coast kind of gave me like new words to think about. So I'd say that's like I'm all domestic and I'm international as well. So there you go.
There you are.
There you go. All right. So look, we got the show question. There's been a lot of drama going on. There's been a lot of drama going on. So, I'm tired of it. I did a bunch of streams this week about it. So
there you are.
The show question is, what can we do to make a better indie comic book industry? Like what can we do? What can we do better for our community? You know, how can we make things better for one another? You know, ultimately that's what we're looking for, right? Peace of mind.
Personally, just treat them like the assholes that they are. I mean, now people might think, oh, that means you have to get in their face. Oh, you mean have to do this? Oh, you mean have to do that? No, you just treat it like the asshole on the street. Like, just go away to like, let me see. Is my time weighed much more effectively to engage with this person or scrubbing my toilet and eating corn chips? And by the way, I hate fucking corn chips. So you kind of use that assessment of your time spent. There are sometimes you have to tell the person to go screw themselves and to fuck off and fall off the planet. 2 other times you just ignore them and say, just go away. Or sometimes you have to go legal and report them to the needed agencies. I've had to do all of the above, and it's not one set plan. You just have to match measure per measure. That's it.
Yeah, it's always a case by case basis.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my suggestion would be, we'd like to say the indie comic book community, but we need to actually be a community. I think sometimes we all think we're 1,000 different boats trying to reach shore when we're really one big boat with a bunch of rooms inside it. And I think the idea is that the better we work together and we're not, I mean, at our level, we're not really competitors for each other. None of us are making such a large percentage of the market to be competitors like Marvel and DC and stuff like that for each other. So I think it's more of a case of determining, are you in it alone or are you in a community? I think that's the difference.
All right, cool. Madeleine, you have anything to add to that? Because I know you said something. Yeah, I mean, you gave your opinion.
I agree with Christie. It's a case by case basis, but I think what we do need to do is define better. What do you mean by better? A better working community. Helping each other level up with our craft, or all of the above.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for myself, I mean, all of the above. Right now, over the last week, I've seen a lot of people screaming and yelling at each other. And it's one of those things where it's just a lot of young men acting, I don't want to say acting out of sorts, but, just getting out of character as far as I'm concerned, because I think they're all good guys. They just are not getting along. And I don't think there's no meeting of the minds when it comes down to them. They're not even trying. They're just screaming at one another, and they're just like, I'm like, guys, like you it's all words on Twitter. It doesn't mean anything. You can walk away. You can just go touch grass, go take a deep breath, go read a good book, go do something, but don't do this.
Well,
there's always a better choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, let me be really frank about it. I mean, I've had a couple of very big epiphanies in the last few years with people like that. This is what separates the winners from the losers. Are you going to go and get into a bunch of petty shit and a bunch of petty fights and go whine and piss about something? Or are you actually going to go and put your head together to form a logical and possibly a very real complaint? Now, people, when you bitch, it's like, okay, there is a legitimate thing happening here. There is a legitimate wrong. But how do you voice it without looking more stupid? And nobody really thinks that. It's like, I just got to say something. Okay, good. You got to say something. And it's probably very important. But voice it in a way that actually gives you dignity and not this crap. I mean, that's the thing that really boils down to it. And it's like, it's sort of like this, like, would you tell your mother this type of shit to her face in this way? No, probably not. And if you want to, it's like better to be logical and polite, or take a moment, formulate your thing, and come back later when you have everything figured out in your head. And the thing is, people don't do that. They just want to go and respond. They want to say a bunch of shit because they want to go and wave their fucking dick on the keyboard, which is really stupid. I mean, people get mad at me about like using somewhat semi-archaic things. Oh, well, too bad. But at a certain point of time, it's like, do you really have to give a fuck about certain things? No, you don't. I mean, you can have your feelings about it, but is this worth giving a fuck about? This is what I've learned in my life. Like, I've been hurt. I've been upset. I've been angry about things, but I just got to sit down. And sometimes there are times I'm just like, in the long run, I really don't give a fuck about this. I don't care. And it's not like this fake, I don't care, where I shove my feelings down. It's more of like, okay, I'm angry and hurt, and I this is how I care. But, you know, do I really care enough to really say anything? Not like, oh, well, nobody's going to tell me, or no. If you're coming from the position of like, you know, I really don't care about this. All right. And then you can move on. But you have to come to that point personally.
CJ, that's how you're supposed to handle the situation. Okay. Anyway, Randy, how do you feel about it?
I've been pretty quiet about this whole thing, but and on top of some of the other stuff that's happened in the comics media the last couple of days, and you know, there's a lot of passion in this industry, and I am really a hair splitter when it comes to words and terms. And you have to decide if we're going to be a community or an industry. If you're going to be a community has an HOA in it. It has Gladys Kravitz across the street, constantly measuring your bushes and looking into your windows and trying to find all the little petty stuff that you're not supposed to be doing. An industry is out there working. My big thing is what happened, especially to Ed, is a solid tragedy. Just the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. And it's a shame that Ed couldn't have stood up when he wrote his note. And everybody out there should read that note. You have to read that note because it's Ed's side of the story. I wish Ed had stood up and said what he said in his note and not had it end as tragically for himself as it did, because that's the, you know, his side of the story. And there's always, as they said, I think on Babylon 5, the truth is a three-edged sword. There's their side, there's your side, and then there's the truth. So, but to me, especially lately, these last few years with the polarization going on and all of this crap, I keep telling folks, you have to decide if you want to be in a community or an industry. I want to be in an industry, so I'm sitting here working. You know, those social platforms aren't social. They're just not. And a lot of it just breeds hate. And you have to know, basically, you have to mind your manners, know how to be nice, and understand that anything that you say on the web is read by the world, whether it's a direct communication or not. It's the way it works. Mind your manners. And if you're going to talk to friends, and we have friends in this industry, help them, you know, and also the big thing that I push on my podcast is try to be positive. You have to go out there and talk positively about this industry, show your passion in an upward scale. You find a comic that you love, tell people you found a comic that you love, you know, not a comic that sucks or this guy is this or that guy votes that way or whatever. Stop it. Just stop it and work. And do this. This is a beautiful see, you're getting me started. It's a beautiful, fantastic art form. And we need to be out there as artists and understand, yeah, we're all artists. We're all passionate. We all have our emotions. But there's a time, you know, there's a time and place for all of this stuff. And the net, Twitter, wherever, spouting hate isn't going to make it. It's not helpful for anybody. Gives you a small dopamine hit that you have to chase after over and over and over again. But for the most part, it doesn't show the passion and it doesn't help this industry. And you should be out there working every day to help this industry. That's the way I feel.
All right, cool. Jay, what are your thoughts?
All right, on the thoughts of the Ed stuff. I mentioned this last night for anybody who wasn't there. I'm not going to condone any of the actions pre or post. I wasn't there. You know, I can't take anything out of context because I don't understand the full situation other than the guy was in pain and he was in so much pain. He couldn't see, you know, any helping hands that are out there. So if anybody is thinking about, you know, making that ultimate decision, put it up last night. The suicide hotline number is 988. 988. Give somebody a talk, you know, as someone who is a family survivor of that situation. It's fucking difficult. Picking up the pieces afterwards. When it comes to the immature people out there, and pretty much that's it, right? It's folks that haven't grown up, right? It's what happens when you when you take money out of the education system. It's what happens when you give 8th place trophies to people out there. And they're going to cry and just talk bullshit, right? Until they get noticed, right? They think the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the oil all the time. And no, it's not. It's usually the one that gets replaced. How many jobs do they know? How many bookings are they not going to get? How many bookings have they cost their associates or people in their circle? As a New Yorker, the phrase "stay in your lane" keeps chiming in my head, man. I'm sorry, shut the fuck up and do your work. Plain and simple. If you were really focusing on your craft or your creative journey or whatever you want to call it, you'd be too busy to engage in any of this bullshit that's online. You really would. I mean, and just forget about it. The people that are doing their work are leveling up, and they will be shining. And unfortunately, those other folks out there will always be jealous of anybody making moves better than them. So if they're not talking about person A, they're going to be talking about person B tomorrow. Right? Calderon, Randy, you and I were involved in a situation that went deep. It went deep. And
emotionally and financially.
Emotionally and financially. And you guys know I suffered the pain with you guys on that. But I wasn't out there on the streams, right? I don't know, maybe it's the old school in me, but it's like, you never let them know what's going on behind closed doors.
Well,
right?
for that was us coming out and voicing it.
It was a different situation, but I get that. But there's also a certain amount of embarrassment, tarnish, that comes with it, and I didn't want that. I mean, I already had that. I didn't want more of that out there. And just the petty back and forths. You guys already know, the phone calls that we had in our group meetings and how toxic that was, and I didn't want to expose that any more than it already had been. Again, I just feel it's a sign of maturity. You don't need to go shouting, "Oh my God, this person said this about me." It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Move on, right? And if you look at most of these people's credits, they probably got a book or two to their name.
All right, that's fair. Listen, my thing is try to treat one another the way the old saying goes. Treat everyone the way you want to be treated, right? Yeah. That's the main tenet. If you want to be treated well, treat everyone else well, and that's basically the way I look at it. It is like, show some compassion and do your work. Yeah. Because in the end, Jay said something funny yesterday. He was just like, "Oh yeah, he says making comic books is easy." I'm like, "No, it's not. Making a good comic is hard. It's hard."
No. Now you're taking that out of context. Making the comic book is the easy part.
No, it isn't.
That's the easy. As hard as it is. That's the easy part. Of course it is.
No, it isn't.
Of course it is.
Making a good comic is the hardest thing you'll ever do.
Come on.
Making a good comic is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Promoting it, listen.
Now I know why you got all that free time.
Chimps can listen. People can promote. We hire people who that's all they can do, or that's all they do, can promote. You understand? But they can't do a good comic. Doing a good comic, doing what Alan Moore did, doing what Frank Miller did, doing the things that I hope everyone is aspiring to do, those things are not easy. Making those level of comics, that's not easy. You understand? Selling it, I will always say that's second fiddle.
Okay.
That's always second fiddle. Because the thing is, I can hire somebody to sell my book. You understand? I can't hire somebody to do my book for me. I have to do that for myself. That is incredibly difficult. Making a good one. You just want to make a comic, feel free.
Christie has a point.
I would say keeping your vision with sheer persistence, because everybody's going to tell you, don't do it. You're wrong. You are screwed up. You are messed up, whatever. And you know what? If your gut tells you to go do it, you be fucking persistent in that. And, you know, eventually people will see it your way. And you don't have to be a dickhead to do it, personally. I mean, as I said, going back, let's go touch on the Ed Pisker thing. What pissed me off was is that people just jumped on to jump on.
Yeah.
That was really fucking gross to me.
Yeah.
They didn't care if a crime had actually been done or if anything really happened. They just did it to do it. And then now I see those fuckers going and deleting their posts and saying, oh, but we were really always liking him. I'm like, go fuck off.
Right.
So, I mean, for me, it's that whole thing for show, this whole thing for clout. And it's like, wow, you have to go and go so deep and so low to go for attention. There's better ways to get attention. And you just showed yourselves how much of asses you are.
Right.
And it's like, I don't have respect for that at all. I mean, you just keep doing your thing.
Jay, who's High Five Comics?
I don't know, but they got my back. What's up, High Five? I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right.
Thank you.
I gotta invite them on the show and see how many.
Invite them.
see
Invite
what
them,
they've
baby.
done. More than happy to argue this. I'm more than happy to argue that point. Jay, anyway, it's your turn.
I heard you took my question. You took my question. I only have one for the night, and you took it. That's not what was in your how to make it better community. Get out of here.
He's at NYC too. Oh, yeah,
my man, or women, whoever you are. Thank you. All right, let's try to make things light and airy, right? Let's be positive here for a moment. What has inspired you the most in your creative journey? Right? Very nice, softball, easy question. Could be taken from almost any different part of the spectrum you choose to talk about.
All right, Madeleine, why don't you start it off?
I would say the fans.
Okay.
I mean, it's been a very interesting journey with the fans in that, you know, when I did the original 6-issue miniseries, you know, it was pretty much set in stone, you know, throughout production. But then when I was thinking, you know, what's going to happen next? What am I going to do next? What's going to be the next story? I remember sitting at a small steampunk convention down in San Diego, and one of my fans was sitting at my table with me. We were chatting and talking about a story, and she was talking about a completely different book, than mine. But then I realized there were certain elements that related to Caitlin, our spirit photographer, and what was going on, and the repercussions, and just, you know, a gleaning of an idea of like, okay, the next story should be Caitlin, you know, dealing with her repercussions of her actions, you know, within the context of the world that she lived in. And so, you know, it's this kind of feedback that I'll get little bits and pieces from fans, and that are really inspiring to definitely keep me going. And probably the best story is when we did the audio drama. After that was released, one of the gentlemen got back to me who had backed it, and he said he had a autistic teenage son. And they were just going back to school, and they were having a really hard time. The kid wouldn't get in the car. So finally he said, hey, I've got this new thing for you to listen to, just to get him in the car so they could get home. So he started listening to the audio drama and really started enjoying it. And then they started talking about it. And then every day when he picked him up, you know, 15 more minutes of this audio drama.
Nice.
And then he wanted to read the comics. And then he said it literally changed their relationship. Most of the time you don't hear these stories. No one tells you how your creative endeavor affects them. And this was amazing. And so I asked him if I could share this with the cast and crew, and he said, sure. And so I did, and they're all going like, I'm not crying. But these are the stories and the little things that keep us going. And you have to remember that you'll probably never hear these stories. You'll probably never hear back from people of how, you know, it was a bad day and this, you know, gave them just a little with their coffee and just to chill and made them feel better that day. You'll never hear that, but rest assured it happens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what should keep you going, because somewhere out there your work is affecting somebody.
You have no idea what kind of impact you're ever going to have until you get
Correct.
feedback, because
Yep.
it'll come from the strangest, oddest directions and mostly unexpected. For me,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 30, 40 years. It's always the stuff you think is crappy. So you have to be careful, especially in the comic market. If you put out a job you're not especially happy with, or you think it's clunky and it's not quite working right, or whatever, that's the one the fans bring up to you and make you autograph the most.
Mhm.
It really is. That, just like what JD Calderon says, when you do a comic, it's like giving birth, in a way, because it's not, physically painful, hopefully, but for the most part, you're putting that sweat equity in. You're thinking, you're rethinking, you're overthinking most of the time what you're supposed to be doing and how it's supposed to look. When you hold it in your hands, it's like holding your kid. And I've had the pleasure of doing both of those, and to me the emotion is comparable, and you never know where that kid's going to go. And the thing for me, I love, I teach cartooning, or used to teach cartooning for the Bug Hit after school, and that still comes back and is rewarding to me today. I'm walking down the street and people stop me and tell me, I took your cartooning class, 5 or 6 years ago, and I did this or that. And there's nothing like seeing that light bulb go off in over the kid's head, and have him figure out that the power of comics, basically, that they can say what they want, they can do what they want. That all they have to do is put it down on paper. There's no feeling like it, really.
I would say motivated by the idea. There's no better feeling than when you have something that catches you as an idea and it doesn't let go. And then the more you work on it, it becomes as real as you wanted it to be, as good as you wanted it to be. And then the whole process is rewarding. Every single time you get a page back from the artist is a good feeling. I mean, it's like going to the comic book store yourself, but it's your own stuff. And I think it's just a increasingly rewarding experience the more and more you do it, and the more you get that constant rush of getting the new pages in, and then the book is made, and you get the book in. First, open up the package with your books in it. Then someone buys your book at the convention or wherever. It's very rewarding. I think, and that's kind of like the inspiration, is that it makes you want to do it another time and get that rush all over again. It's like it does become like a drug. It's a little bit of an addiction. It's like, is your greatest fear? What would be your greatest fear? Be like having a comic book that, or find that you can't do your next issue for whatever reason. It's that rush to that, because you just want to keep wanting it. And when that issue's done, you come up with a new idea. You're scrambling for a new idea because you want the next rush of the next comic book to come out from you. And I think that's kind of some of the things that makes it all fun and enjoyable and worth it.
Yeah. Cool. Christie, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's kind of funny. You're asking somebody that admits that she writes petty, mean comics about, and just draws shit about people she doesn't like. But here's a point to that. The thing is that I don't just do it just to shit on somebody. The thing is this is stuff that's happened to me repeatedly over and over, and I've been told, you can't do anything about it, shut up, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I have been bullied. But what did I decide to do? I decided to draw something about it. And the thing is I didn't draw it for the sake of shitting on it. I mean, at the first time I did, I admit it. I did it just to make myself laugh, because that was my only way of dealing with it, because people would tell me, oh, you're too nice, you're too this, victim blaming. Now, I got out of the victim blaming thing, and I just did it because it's like, you know what, this sucks and I hate it. And I had every right to say that. But the thing is that what I found different from mine and some people that do hate comics or anger comics or whatever, and I'm not saying all of them, but a good number of them, is that I give people a space to absolve themselves of this anger. Like, it's okay to be this pissed off about this shit. And the thing is that you have no idea how it feels for people to be able to be given space for that. No, you shouldn't be angry. I'm not talking about just men and women, just people. And it's like, well, you're pissed. Well, you're going to go out and do violent things. No, you're not. You're just really angry, and you want to express that, and you're that pissed off. Mm-hmm. And it gives people that space. And it's like in that very specific space of they go back and say, I really felt this when this happened to me. So it feels like it goes down deep. A lot of the comics that I do, at least from the feedback I've gotten, goes down deep, and it somehow dislodges that pain and anger, or whatever the fuck they felt at that time that was terrible. And it like releases it like, this is okay. And that's all they need. And they're happier about it. It's not just, oh, people are just shitty and we should go and focus on how shitty people are and they're just all shitty. It won't ever. No, it's like, wow, this specific time really upset me on some very deep level. And now I can laugh at it because I have exposed it to the air and it can just go away. And that's like kind of how therapy is. It's like they don't need to dig down deep and go all the way and your subconscious is your enemy. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that, because you have a person that's trained and who's a third person looking in and going like, oh yeah, this and this. And all you need to do is find that, because the platitudes people say like, oh, you just need to let it go. All you need, that's nice. Tell me how. And that's the thing. What I got sick of is people telling me these platitudes like, oh, well, you're just letting them win if you feel upset, if you're feeling this, if you're feeling that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I have every right to frickin' feel that way without you further victimizing me or shaming me. It's like, I have every right to do that. And the thing is that I think because we're shamed like that, and I don't know why, because people have this idiotic idea about like how anger should be dealt with in our society sometimes, is that now you have people that act out by suppressing long-term problems underneath. Like now sometimes, and it's not to preemptively judge people unfairly, but it's like now coming from my own experiences, when I see somebody act out, I'm like, you kind of have, like, I don't say it out loud to people, but my personal judgment is, you know, you have some deep latent problems coming from somewhere. You really need to address that before you get into it, because this is kind of a cumulative thing. This is a snowballing effect. And at least for my comic, it seems like it seems to release the pressure where it goes down deep enough, or I don't know how deep, I can't judge it with people, but from what they tell me, pretty deep, where they can just let it go because they acknowledge it. And perhaps that's how I'm making it a better world. And I know, like I say, oh, it's people I hate and everything. Well, there's some very good reasons why you might hate some people, or some people that did shit to you, and being told you need to forgive them and all this shit. Forgiveness is a gift. And sometimes forgiveness is just how you let it go, is like, oh, I really don't need to deal with that anymore. I get it now. Whatever. I'm done processing, whatever. It's just simpler than what it sounds, but we've chosen to make it harder.
Okay. Fair enough. For myself, the thing that I guess motivates me or inspires me is getting lost in the world that I'm creating. I mean, I have an issue. I have an issue when I sit down and I start writing. I get real cranky if you disturb me, because I'm usually not on the same planet as you are anymore. You know, I'm so far gone. I mean, like, someone has spoken to me while I'm in the process of writing, and I have looked up. I know I'm looking at another human being, and I'm like, what am I supposed to say right now? Because I'm someplace else, right? That's how far gone I am. I don't even know where I'm at. I'm like, because for me, writing is such, the process for me is so hyper focused. It's the most difficult thing I think I do. And I mean, I manage scads of people on a daily basis, right? But writing is the most difficult thing I could do. I could deal with 60 people at a time. That's easy. But when it comes down to having, you know, doing spreadsheets and all that jazz, that's simple. But when I have to write a story, that requires hyper focus. And that's the sort of thing that I really enjoy, where I get to go someplace and just be gone, you know? And I mean, like I said, I'm on another planet. So, and this is why I don't have to take drugs. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Jay, back
Yes,
at you, sir.
no, I wanna chime in on what Madeleine was saying. Definitely, it's those connections I make, you know, with the people at conventions more than anything else. You know, I'm not on Broadway. I'm not a musician. I'm not a chef, right? So I don't get that immediate reaction from somebody that's ingested my product, whatever it is, whether it's, you know, my performance, my song, my food. Takes a while to put this stuff together. So when you know, I'm at a convention and they're coming back, or they were looking forward to seeing me from, you know, the last year that I was there, or they got a project for me on Kickstarter that they were like, oh my God, I couldn't wait to meet you for this. That really hits home. That's awesome. And like Madeleine, I had an experience last year at AwesomeCon in DC, where a young man who special needs was there with his dad, and his father brought him because the school did not, and he was 18 years old, and he was nonverbal until he was 9, and that hit home because one of my nephews is nonverbal, and I was like, oh, right, and that hit me right there. So I'm going back and forth with his dad, and we're enjoying a great time. I see him the next day, and I shout him out from across the aisle, right? And I'm like, oh, what, you having fun, buddy? What's been the best part of the convention for you? And the kid said me. And I'm just like, you know what I mean? It's like the eyelashes are flipping back and forth, trying to contain stuff, right? My heart melting. And the thing is, I was at the booth alone. Usually you got a ton of people at the booth helping me out. My wife wasn't there. And I had told her about the young man the day before. I got on the phone with one of my sisters, and I was, telling them the story about how the dad said not to give up, and that it took a while. And, when his son finally started to speak, it was big. It was a huge moment. And I was just like, oh my God. So I'm, telling my sister, oh, don't give up hope and all of that. And then next day the kid comes back and he's like, you're the best part of my day. I'm like, oh, and then the dad just confirms it, right? And I'm like, no, come on, man, don't stop. And he's like, no, really. And, it's his special needs. If he gives you any bit of attention, that's huge, right? And the kid was getting stimulated by everything, but he kept coming back to engage with me, and I was just like, oh man, that's it, man. That's it. That filled the emotional well for quite a while there. Shoot, it was almost a year now, and I'm still talking about it. It's a great moment.
It's great when you have that. Like I had a similar experience, but it was a young woman who picked up personal monsters. And one of the things that kind of got my attention was she said, this made me feel something. I'm like, what? And I found out from her father and her that she had just been diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic. They were figuring out her meds. So it actually kind of made her smile inside. And having dealt with certain aspects of that, and certain times when you are not happy per se, you do feel numb, and it's not a great feeling. So I've been through those periods of where I felt numb because I couldn't feel any pain anymore. So I get the feel. I could understand that. I am not diagnosed schizophrenic. I have friends that have been diagnosed, and it is a challenge to maintain. It's one of the harder aspects of mental illness and mental conditions that you have to deal with and get that. But it's like, I have to admit that either people hate my work or they love it. At least it makes them feel something. Makes you feel alive. And I kind of like that.
That's cool.
It's a big pick me up,
Yeah.
It is. Now, before we continue, I want to share out. This is a terrible segue.
That's the title? I hope that's the title.
That's not the title. No, that's not the title. The title is The End of Ultra Minus. Jeff, what are we looking at here?
Jeff,
You're muted, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to kill the buzz. I totally forgot that I have a fireplace in the background making annoying noises. Anyways, The End of Terminus is a sci-fi action apocalyptic story about the universe dying and the last 7 species in the universe board the spaceship Terminus and do their best to escape the universe before it all is destroyed. And obviously, all 7 species don't like each other. There's going to be a lot of death, a lot of destruction. It starts off about 100,000 species individuals on the ship. It's going to end up with about 12 making it to the end. And so it's sort of like also, I guess, a great catastrophe of death as well. But it's a fun story. It's a thoughtful story. Each species represents a part of our own society. And it's interesting watching them interact with each other. There's a warrior race. There's a peaceful, plant-based race. A technological-based race, a group of clones, a religious-based society, us humans society, and it's basically, like I said, watching these individuals trying to survive as they try to get the hell out of the universe before it all dies. So it's a good story. This is the second issue. This is one that ramps up the action quite a bit. A lot of aliens meet Star Trek in this one, and then leads into the third issue, which is going to be kind of a little bit of a backstory of how they all come together.
All right, cool. So, of the 2 issues, how many more issues do you have to go after this?
I'm going to end up probably between 15 to 20.
Okay, that's cool. Now, what type of release schedule are you looking at annually?
The first couple of issues, I think the first 3 end up being 1 a year, but hopefully as people get more invested and they fund a little bit quicker, we'd like to move into 6 months intervals for a little while, then try to move to a quicker rate as hopefully popularity increases. But for now, because we are working day jobs as we do this, the artist Brad Shipp is an amazing artist. Unfortunately, he works a day job, so it's a little slower. But at the same time, support your local artists as much as humanly possible.
Gotcha. Now, do you want me to play this video?
Sure. I made it myself.
Just give me a second. I swear.
Is it not working, or?
You can do it.
You can do it.
This is just the dramatic pause before the big beginning.
Big dramatic pause.
I don't know.
Yeah. And like as we're watching, anyone wants to listening wants to get me to 50% today, that'd be fantastic. I wouldn't mind 50% in my 4th day. So
yeah,
let's get me there, please.
You're almost there.
I'm getting close. I'm a couple of purchases away from getting me there. If they do like the full bundle, and it's like I said, good pricing. Oh, time to be quiet.
Jeff, I was going to say, you're going to hit 50% before Calderon learns how to play your video.
Seriously, no, it's my system is acting up. I just have to get a new computer. I've been fighting it for weeks, if not months. Jeez.
Usually the time to get a new one when you start fighting it.
Like I said, it builds up the tension. So I'm concerned that the video's not worth the build up. The End of All Terminus is back with this amped up second issue. Check out these stellar covers from Brad Shipp and Dan Price of Bigfoot Knows Karate fame. The second issue sees the crew rocket into the planet of darkness, where they become hunted by its ruthless creatures. Do you love them aliens? These creatures are far more nasty and cunning, but holding a mysterious secret that will haunt the crew for issues to come. New characters appear, like Head of Security Nakano, a badass, no-nonsense woman who even Draxus respects. Joining her is the cocky and tough-as-nails pilot, Orville Yeager. All your favorites are back too, like the Warrior King Thraxus and the wise Salah. But one of these individuals will not survive until the end. Also returning is President Lamar. Her decision this issue will decide the fate of everyone on board the Terminus. I sincerely hope you're back. The End of All Terminus, issue 2. This has been a labor of love for both Brad Shipp and myself. I think everyone will enjoy this action-packed and thought-provoking second issue. Please back what you can. Let's get this issue made. Yeah, and like I said, the pricing's good. It's $9 for one issue with $5 for shipping. There's a indie community bundle of digital PDFs. You can get 25 indie PDFs for $15. You can get all 6 covers for $32, and I think it's $10 for shipping for that one. You can get a digital catch-up for issues 1 and 2 for only, I think, $12 or $13 with, I think, $5 or $6 for shipping. So the prices are reasonable. Everyone can do it. Even if you only have like $2, you can get the second issue PDF, $4 for both 1 and 2. So I think the prices are good for everyone in every economic situation. It's just a question of going in and backing it. But like I said, these are some killer covers. Dennis Valencia did an awesome cover with Thraxus killing some aliens. Raymond Lee does a Star Wars homage cover. That's a Brad Shipp cover. And we also have covers from Dan Price from Bigfoot Knows Karate and Chris Michael from Crit. So got some of the indie community giving it the thumbs up and helping me out here.
All right, cool. Listen, it looks really nice. I mean, you got what, 20 26 days ago. So you got plenty of time. So, I don't think you'll have any problem funding.
I hope not, but if anyone wants to get me to funding today, that's fantastic too. So, it's never too soon to fulfill your campaign, right?
This is
No,
true.
like
This
I
is
go
very-
like get it now done. I want to be one of those fuckers that like funds all 30 grand in like 5 hours. I want to be one of those.
I will say there's
We'll talk
never a
about
moment,
comment, right?
right? I would say there's never a moment where it's not too soon to get the big pledge, right? It's just like I don't want to be like waiting on day 3 and sweating over whether or not I will hit my goal or not.
Right.
This is true. This is true. All right. Now, okay, cool.
I have a
Now,
question.
let's
I have
go-
a question for Jeff. I have
Okay.
a question for Jeff. Jeff, is your Orville Yeager character an homage to Chuck Yeager?
Yes, he is. Indeed, he is.
Right.
Every character, believe it or not, is named by someone usually from history. Ada Lamar is based on a famous woman from the 1940s or 50s. Came out with the I think it was
Eddie
Wi-Fi.
Lamar.
Eddie
Eddie Lamar.
Yeah,
so,
Eddie
Eddie
Lamar.
Lamar, yeah.
Everyone is
That was
inspired
Eddie
by
Lamar.
someone from history, and because I'm apparently not that original with my own names, I just ripped off names for more interesting people.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have to say your gray tone work, your interior artist is great.
Oh,
Just-
Brad Shipp he's awesome. He's
Fantastic stuff. Yeah.
thank you so much.
Keep putting it out there. Absolutely.
All right. Cool. Madeline, do you want me to play this video?
Sure. Be my guest.
Get the hamster working.
I'm
No.
serious.
We have the
serious.
dramatic pause again.
Sweet
Once
kids.
again, yes.
Keep that hamster rolling. You can do it.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, no, he's grinding.
Trying to do too much with his
He's
computer.
grinding. He's grinding.
lag.
ladies and gentlemen.
Computer 1, JD 0.
Ay, ay, ay.
Come
Ay,
back.
ay, ay.
Come
Oh,
back.
my
JD.
gosh.
Oh, no.
All right. You know what? This is Madeline's time. Until
Yeah,
he
just
comes
describe the video.
back. Madeline, talk to us a little bit about the book right now.
Sure. What we're doing is doing a print run of Volume 1 as a hardback for the very first time.
Okay.
And for those of you who are not familiar with the series, it's about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battle supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. We have made 5 stretch goals, which include 18 digital comics that go to anyone who has pledged for a reward. And the other 2 are to add on a gray satin bookmark and foil stamping to the hardback. So we're moving along.
Okay.
Other incentives include limited metal, I would say membership business cards for Special Detective in brass, copper, and black stainless steel.
Oh, wow.
And then a few days ago, we added on a mid-campaign add-on of our first ever puzzle with the using the cover by Rebecca Isaacs, who she did a beautiful job. And so those are limited as well. This is a slightly higher price point than my other Kickstarters, just because it is a hardback and it is a special edition that's limited. So yeah, we are there. And
Well, you're at $22,000. For anybody who is watching and wants to check it out, I just put the link in the chat. It's in
Thank
the
you.
show notes, but you can pull it up right now. Take a look at it. You're at 22 grand right now. Why a puzzle?
well, one, I haven't seen anyone else do that.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously there've been Kickstarters for puzzles, but those were for puzzles. And so this is just, I thought would be a fun add-on for the wonderful nerdy geek set that we all live with. And we all like to do puzzles.
Yeah.
And the cover was just so beautiful. I thought it would make a good one.
Okay.
So I
So-
did it.
I can actually like play it if you guys want me to.
Yeah, pull it up. Pull
Okay.
it up. I was trying to say it in the respond to you in the private chat, but I'm also
Okay.
trying to coordinate with Calderon at the same time. I'm sorry.
No,
pull it
it's
up.
okay. So yeah, just go ahead and pop that up. I somehow can't do the screen. I can share the screen, but I can't put it on the stage yet.
Oh, damn. All right.
Whoops. Sorry. I tried. I'm
You got us
sorry.
excited, Christy. You got us excited for this moment right there. Okay, so this is going to be finishing up in 10 days. You're at 426 backers. You're over 22. Yeah. You're funded, to the gills. How many stretch goals did you say you hit already on this one?
We've made 5, and we're homing in on number 6.
And those stretch goals are not things that people can unlock to pay extra for. That's automatically added into whatever rewards.
Correct.
Oh, look at that, people. Spreading that dollar a little bit more for the common folk like us. I love that.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to go down this route, though, with your books?
You mean through Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Well, we originally started out self-funding the first 3 books. And as everyone, excuse me, I'm dealing with allergies. As everyone knows, making comics is expensive. So
yeah.
I actually probably started on the Kickstarter platform in 2014.
Okay.
Something like that.
And it's always been Boston Metaphysical Society,
yes.
or anything else?
Yes, we have the original 6-issue miniseries. We do have a volume 2, which includes our 4 standalone sequels and the first 2 issues of our new series, Mystery at Pikes Peak. So we actually have a lot of material out, of which you can get through the Kickstarter, either as digitally or physical copies, along with, a few extra goodies.
Okay.
And like the novel, there's a prequel novel and a prequel anthology. And the audio drama that I was talking about earlier.
So you wrote the novel as well, or did you have somebody else do that for you?
Oh, that's me. I wrote everything.
Why just Boston Metaphysical Society? This is something I wonder. I'm not trying to knock you when I ask that question. It's more,
it has to do with time.
Okay.
It's just time.
Yeah.
This all takes a significant amount of time to do, and it's been what I would call reasonably successful. So it's the thing that keeps the machine running.
Okay.
So I need to keep Boston Metaphysical running. So yes, there are other series and stuff that I want to do of my own IP, but I just haven't gotten time to do that.
Right. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Oh, look at who's back all of a sudden.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. You want to hear something funny? So my system, I guess there's something running in the background. I was doing something weird. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the video started playing, and I sat through the whole video, and I'm like, where is everybody? Why is nobody talking?
Oh, son of a gun. Here we are, picking up your pieces, baby.
Punk Supernatural series, Boston Metaphysical Society. Welcome to our Kickstarter to print our first ever Volume 1 Special Edition hardback. If you're not familiar with the series, it's about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battles supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. With an amazing cover by Rebecca Isaacs, this limited edition of Volume 1 comes as a hardback and a softback, and not only includes our original 6-issue miniseries with art by Emily Hugh, but additional pinup art by Carl Alstetter, Jesse Mesa-Toves, and Melissa Poliuka. We also have some cool weapons designs straight from Granville's lab and a 10-page bonus story with art by MJ Erickson. And there's more. We're doing a limited run of our first ever Boston Metaphysical Society metal membership cards in brass, copper, and black, making you a special detective part of the BMS team. The best part is that the volume is in pre-press and should be ready to go to the printer by the end of the campaign. So please be sure to check out all of our reward tiers and pledge today. Thank you in advance for your support.
Very nice.
I like it. Look at that. When I could see it, it brings a certain je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To promoting the the campaign.
Okay, je ne sais quoi. Yes.
You like
Very
that?
nice.
Yeah, I'm very. I'm sorry. The the book is giving me the pro vibe, and I wanted to go French Algerian. I wanted to get that accent out there.
Okay, so Madeleine, please take over.
Yeah, you've been gone, JD.
I know. I'm sorry. My apologies.
Like I mentioned before, we've made 5 stretch goals. 18 are we got 18 digital comics to everyone who pledges. Added some cool things to the hardback, the gray satin bookmark, the foil stamping, because this cover just screams foil stamping. So
That's
I think
nice.
I was going to do that even if we didn't make it, because I love the idea of it. And that's a cover by Rebecca Isaacs. Emily Hugh is the interior artist. And MJ Erickson is doing the bonus 10-page story.
Cool.
And yeah, we got a lot of stuff.
Nice. Now, this is early on in the year. What are you planning on doing later on in the year?
Well, that's a good question. My artist for Pikes Peak is currently on a hiatus, and it really kind of depends on what's going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some decisions to be made, which I haven't made yet.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Now, you said you also wrote this in prose, right?
Well, all of these are separate stories because I never repeat a story. The novel is a prequel that focuses on Elizabeth Wellsmore Hunter, who is Samuel Hunter's wife. The anthology is a series of short stories and novellas that range in time anywhere from 5 to 30 years before the first graphic novel begins. The audio drama, which I also wrote and produced, with a terrific crew of Chip Michael and Eddie Louise, and a full cast. That is also an original story that roughly takes place during the time period of Volume 1. And we are offering that either as a CD, a cool credit card-like flash drive, or a digital download.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, where do you get are these coins?
Those are lapel pins.
Lapel.
Oh,
that's very nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's for the steampunk community loves these. I have people who've collected these since the very beginning, because there's certain ones I will always keep, but there's others that are limited, and when they go away for good.
Gotcha.
And that's the flash drive, the little credit card thing. That's actually the flash drive. It comes in the little velvet pouch.
Oh, very cool.
That's the puzzle. And we got the team: Emily, Gloria, Fariza, excuse me.
Now, where do you find your artists? Where are you collecting these your team from?
Well, Emily, who did the original 6-issue miniseries, I met through a friend through school. And when we finished, Emily went on to bigger and better. And so by that time, I'd been in the indie community for a few years. So I sent the word out that I was looking for another female artist. And a friend suggested Gwen Tavares. And I was about to reach out to her, and she reached out to me. I hired her to do some character sketches. She nailed it. And then we worked together for 4 years. She did our 4 standalone sequels. Beautiful, beautiful job. And then she decided to have babies. And, she basically has 2 kids under the age of 3. So she had to switch her priorities, which is completely fair.
Mhm.
And then I did a pretty big search. It took a while because there was a number of artists that I liked, but they were busy until 2025. And then I found Elizabeth and we started talking, and then I brought her on board, and she's been doing a fabulous job. Elizabeth McKenza is doing
Nice.
Pikes Peak.
Awesome. Now, how many different series? Like, because I know you said you have limited series, and then you have like an anthology. So how many different series you're running in the same universe?
Well, it's in prose, graphic novel, and audio drama form, and those are all different stories.
Gotcha.
So everything relates to one another. They're all standalone, but everything is linked. So when you read it all, it just enriches your experience. Or listen
Very nice.
and read. Yeah.
Yes. Very nice. This has got to get them all. I like it. Very cool. Now, how far are you along in the campaign? I know.
She got 10 days left.
to go.
10 days left.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very nice. 10 days. You're doing well at. Yeah. You're doing fantastic. Nice.
Yeah,
We're doing fantastic. She's killing it, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That's another way of putting it. Yes. Yes.
She's kicking ass out there, bro. Good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been going through the doldrums, so we've just been plugging along right now, which is to be expected.
Gotcha.
Do you do a lot of live stream promotion for your books when you're live, or what's your process?
I do usually about 15 to 20 podcasts while we're live.
Okay.
This round has been fewer because one, I scheduled fewer, and then 3 canceled on me this past week for a wide variety of reasons between health and stuff.
Happens.
Yeah, it happens. It's totally fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. Now, do you find that your mailing list is your biggest booster in this?
Yeah.
Or
yes, and using Backer Kit Launch.
right.
I highly recommend, particularly if you've run a number of campaigns, the $99 you spent for Backer Kit Launch is money well spent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right, awesome.
You can use it. You don't have. It's not just once. It's before the campaign, during the campaign, all whenever you want. And I tend to space it out depending on what's going on and how I feel the campaign is doing.
Right. All right. Cool. Listen, I mean, you're doing incredible. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You as Jay said, you're killing it. So just got to keep at it. So fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Now. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can. Okay, here we go, Randy.
Oh, here we are. Hey, look at that. What
Yeah.
kind of window was that? Got it. What?
No, it was the site's cookies.
Oh,
yeah.
We all love cookies.
Yeah.
You can run that.
Too much.
Atlantis sank, and the lands of the world were savage and untamed. One man would claim his destiny, leaving his Atlantean tribe behind and throwing off the shackles of Lemurian bondage. He sailed the seas as a pirate captain before seizing his place as a king. And now that he has the throne, how long will he be able to keep it? This is the Shadow Kingdom, the classic sword and sorcery tale by Robert E. Howard, adapted by Randy Zimmerman, with artwork by Russ Leach. Available now at fundmycomic.com.
FMC, the Shadow Kingdom. Yep. This is Robert E. Howard's first sword and sorcery tale. It's pretty much recognized as the start of the genre. It's got a lot of the tropes everybody takes for granted today, including shape-shifting lizard people. So it's a lot of fun. It's Cull just as he becomes king of Valusia, and he's fought his way to get there, and he's dealing with being a king, and then he's told about a conspiracy theory to steal his throne from by a race of shape-shifting lizard people. So not only does he have to wrap his head around him losing his throne, but that there are all of these monsters and hidden races and things out there that he might not have been aware of before, that were supposed to have been chased off centuries before.
Very nice.
So it's a great story. If you've ever read Conan, you haven't read this. I'm telling you, this is Howard's first barbarian character. This is not really the prefab Conan, but it's a completely different character. He's a deeper character, a hard thinker, sometimes an overthinker, who ends up learning of this conspiracy and having to wrap his head around it. And at the same time, he meets a new friend from an opposing race, a Pict named Brule, that he is very suspicious of, doesn't trust at all, and then has to come to terms with the fact that Brule is actually there to help him. And there's a few times in this story where Cull is sitting there looking and thinking about the situation and trying to wrap his head around it, and all Brule does is elbow him and say, "You see that? Just kill it. This needs to die." And it's great intrigue. This is a faithful. We stayed as faithful to. I'm getting a feedback. We stayed as faithful to the Howard story as possible. It follows it. In fact, we include the prose story in the back of the book, just so you can compare the comic adaptation to the actual prose work. And if you've never read Howard before, this is a great story to start on. He's an incredible writer. And there's a reason all of these Conan comics have come out all of these years, and Cull and Solomon Kane and Red Sonja and all of those characters, they all start at one point, and it's the Shadow Kingdom right here. Now, this story is in public domain, so Russ is a big fan of John Buscema and John Buscema's Conan. This was a passion project for him. We just got to talking while we were on our podcast, and I mentioned that some of the Howard material is officially in public domain. He said, "Well, find a story. Let's do it." So we found a story, and what better one to start with than the first one? And we're doing the Shadow Kingdom. It's been really successful for us. The Howard fans have been really gracious with the campaign. We're way past our goal, and we're looking at doing more with Cull and Brule in regards to original stories, and using this book as a springboard from there. And when we do those, they will be called the Atlantean, because Cull eventually becomes king of Atlantis, which was his home tribe. Yeah.
Very nice. All right, cool. How long ago did Russ approach you?
About this time last year.
Oh, okay. Nice. Is he done with all of the penciling and ink?
Oh, everything is done. In fact, Russ won't leave the thing alone. Russ is at the point where he's looking at it going, that panel doesn't quite. I think I can fix that. Let me change the perspective on this, and boom. He just swapped a page around not too long ago. Plus, he's done a series of pinups that we don't show here in this campaign that'll probably serve as inspiration for the covers for the Atlantean, depending upon how many more issues we carry on with this.
All right, cool.
This story really springs. There's a whole lot of an infinite amount of directions that we can take this story. Can't wait to get into it.
Now, was this the only story in this series that he did, or are there other stories within, I guess, the Cull section of that universe?
Howard was a pulp writer. He was out selling different stories, and he had been working on Cull for a couple of years, taking it off the shelf, refining it, putting it back on the shelf. And he finally sent it into Weird Tales, and they took it right off the bat. And in fact, paid him as if he was a high-level professional, but gave him the highest paycheck that he had gotten to that date. So he sat down, wrote another half a dozen stories, and sent those all in. Cull stories, and they took one and rejected the rest.
Gotcha.
So he sat back and worked on a few other characters. Solomon Kane's got it's kind of a Victorian character of his that has a few of the elements in it. And then he sat down and said, well, okay, obviously they just want blood. They want action. They want a mindless barbarian. So he created Conan and took one of the Cull stories, my favorite Cull story, by the way, which isn't in public domain, called By This Axe I Rule, which is just a phenomenal, just a great story. But he took that, refashioned it, put Conan in it instead of Cull, cut Brule out of it completely, added an enchanted sword and a large monster, and sent that in. And that was the first Conan story ever printed, called The Phoenix and the Sword.
Gotcha. Now, how soon before some of those other stories go into public domain?
There's only one other one in public domain at the moment. There's another one that has a ghost of Cull in it, a Bran McMorn story. But the other half a dozen or so, he literally put into a chest and forgot about and concentrated on Conan. And then long after he had passed, when during the 60s, when the paperback boom was running and everybody was looking for great prose stories to print, they uncovered that case and they printed those stories and touched up the remaining fragments of the Cull tales that they had, or converted them to Conan stories and published them then. And those are the ones that aren't in public domain.
Gotcha. All right, cool. What do you have left?
We have 5 days, I think.
5
days to go.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We're at 172% of the goal. We can't, this is one of those pet projects. I have a bucket list of stuff that I want to get done and other issues that I need to get to and that. But when Russ asked me to do this, it was just drop everything and get it done. So I went through and adapted the story for him while Russ went through and did all the artwork for it, then went through and colored it the way that he wanted. He wanted it colored in a very Silver Age type palette. So it's real base colors. It's just a beautiful product. And then I got to go through and letter it. And if you're familiar with Howard's prose, there were times that I was really worried I wouldn't be able to fit all the letters in, and had to go through and fiddle and do editing and that. But I still wanted to keep the point of Howard's story. With comics, you're in a real show don't tell or tell. Show don't tell medium.
Right.
So there's a lot of the description stuff that I dropped out, but a lot of the prose work, especially when Cull is thinking, because to me, the research that I've done, Cull is about as close to Howard as any of his other characters, because he's deep, he's thinking, he's overthinking, he's always in his most of the time it's hard for him to get out of his own head. And then when he starts fighting something, there's a barbarian lust that just kicks in, a bloodlust, and he just goes berserk and goes full on barbarian. And you see Cull here as a great solid character. Cull and Brule both are just phenomenal. They're the stories that we're looking at doing after this will be Cull and Brule almost on the road out trying to find the rest of this race of serpent men and to take them off of the face of the earth, basically, and all of the other prevails that they run into along the way.
All right, cool. Listen, it looks great, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I can't recommend it enough. I'm really proud of this book.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right. So hold on. I got this other thing up here. Where is this? Oh, here we go. Jesus, this thing. Okay, Jay. Talk to me. What do we got? Nothing? You have nothing to say about your book?
I'm sorry. I got excited. I forgot to take this off mute. I started acting up. Good thing I didn't take it off of mute yet. Whatchamacallit. So we're going to give this another shot, right? First time I ran this, I was just trying to fit a round hole into a square peg. I wasn't ready. Was trying to capitalize on the momentum we had picked up out of New York Comic Con, but I was promoting a different book instead at that time, and I just pretty much I threw egg on my face, right? The project exploded on me. So we're going to come back at it right now. We gave it a proper amount of ramp up time, and New York versus the World is my take on the zombie apocalypse in New York City. 15 years after the apocalypse happened, when the apocalypse did go down in New York City, they blew the bridges and they flooded the tunnels. So nothing was coming in or out of the city. It took them 15 years to clean up. Once they did, they started to let people in. But now, do you trust the folks that are coming in when they haven't worked on what you worked on, or when they may be carrying a virus or something like that? Right. It's pretty much my take on xenophobia, right? It's build a wall, build a wall, build a wall. But what happens when the people on one side of the wall are trying to keep their family safe, and the people on the other side of the wall are looking for a place to keep their family safe? Who's in the wrong with that? One of the best things about some of the zombie tales is it was always, a mask for something else. There was always an underlying message, right? The very first movie that we saw out there was dealing with racism. Then we were dealing with capitalism. Then we were dealing with communism at one point, right? So why not use the zombie theme as like a mask to deal with xenophobia? And that's as deep as my writing is ever going to get, right? Everything else is just knuckle ups and horror and gore and stuff like that. But it's an anthology tale. So each issue is a different part of the city and what's going down. So the only main character in the book is New York City. The very first issue deals with, I guess, the immigrants, the refugees coming into Ellis Island, how those folks are treated. Then the second issue, we're going to Coney Island and what happens over there on the outskirts of the city. And then the third issue, which is what we're pitching, takes place with the Brooklyn Bridge being the spotlight element, and how some of the survivors or some of the people that are cleaning up the city or the outskirts of the city react to one another. So it's just fun stuff. I mean, if you like New Yorkers, well, damn it, you can see us try to survive the apocalypse. If you hate New Yorkers, well, damn it, you can see us get eaten up during the apocalypse. It's a win-win. There's something there for everybody.
All right, cool. Looking forward to it, bro. Looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We launch next Saturday, 8:00. You can check out my live stream. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a trivia contest. Calderon can't wait to be there. What's gonna happen is on the live stream for Saturday night, I've got a few people on the panel, and they are all going to be randomly representing backers throughout the night. So whoever has the most correct answers wins a few extras in the rewards for the people that have pledged for the project.
All right, cool. Yeah. Like I said, looking forward to it. All I have to say is, whoever I pick, I'm sorry you're gonna lose. I'm
gonna make a win on purpose. You know what I mean? I'm in control of that stuff. Bang, 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 baby. Everybody's a winner in my house. Come on, bro. All
right. That's fair enough. Real quick, I'm gonna post up my campaign. This is Magi's Grace. When the supernatural meets cryptids, you have Magi and Grace's partner, a very angry, upset sorceress. And these are the two people that get brought in whenever they have these situations. I got another 11. This is actually a second chance campaign. So I have a fantastic cover by C. Michael Lanning, another cover by Matt Lunsford. This is his. He was a former artist on La Blue Girl, something I worked on with him many, many moons ago. And like I said, in a fantastic cover by C. Michael Lanning. So we got another 11 days to go. We've already gone by we've already made the goal. Hoping to make our first stretch goal, and we're going to be giving away a metal trading card at 2.5 at 2,500, and it'll feature Mr. Lanning's fantastic cover there. All right, there you go. That's enough about that. It was 11 days ago. Christie, you're up. What's your question?
I mean, for me, I don't have a current campaign running. All I do is do Demon Bitch and some other stories. So I have my link tree up, and essentially you can catch it on Global Comics, or you can go and subscribe to it on Patreon. Feel free to support that either financially through Patreon or Global Comics. And right now, I've been thinking about doing an omnibus, probably the most meteor collection ever of Demon Bitch, since I'm almost going to get hit. I'm going to hit 6 books soon if I do another Kickstarter in the newest edition. So it's like I'm not going to be a prick and say, oh, here's like an omnibus of 5, but since you like don't have the 5th one, then you're screwed. It's just so people can buy it all at once if they want to. And I've kind of debated whether or not to do hardcover, and then I'm going to do a 6 graphic novel at the same time. That's kind of the plan right now at the moment.
All right.
So
cool.
don't have a time frame for that, sorry, but it's
Right.
been thinking, the wheel's been turning.
There you go. Very nice. Now, but since you're the co-host, do you have a question for the panel?
Me? Oh,
No pressure.
No pressure. Don't worry about it.
But I'm glad you're the co-host and not me.
well, I thought I could help. I don't know. I don't know if I helped out Madeleine very much, but at least I tried. I would say, essentially, what do you see how each of your IPs are evolving in terms of that? I've noticed, like, for example, with Madeleine, I've seen it go and turn into an audiobook, audio radio. So are you guys going to go outside the medium of comics like that, or are you going to animate it? What do you plan to do with it, with your IP?
All right, cool.
People asked you to do different things with it.
Very nice. Randy, you're up.
I got a lot of different IPs, and I'm wide open for anybody to suggest anything. But at the moment, I saw Michael Fontaine or DeFontaine in the chat. Says I like Randy's talk on the video. We were talking about doing a dramatic reading of the Shadow Kingdom and maybe the other story, the other Cull story that's in public domain, to do as an add-on. But immediately coming up is an artisan edition, I think, that we'll be offering with the work in black and white. Russ really wants to do that very badly. That's just for the Shadow Kingdom. Other than that, I got a list. I got a bucket list of stuff that I got to get done. A history of comics that I'm in the middle of that I absolutely have to get to and finish. Anniverse Omnibus that way back in 1985, Sue Van Camp, if you're familiar with her work at all, she went on to do a lot of magic cards for some of the early sets. The two of us created an entire universe of funny animal characters that we both love. And we're getting back up and doing a collection of those, probably an omnibus with some original material. I got second issues of Paragon and Calico and a whole story behind Calico I got to get done. And I just got in touch with Abdul Rashid, the guy who does the Alice in Chains book. I've had this for quite a few years, and sent him what we were doing, and he's up for another couple issues. So it's going to be a crazy couple years for me. I should stay quite busy.
Nice.
But yeah, other medium, absolutely. Somebody wants to do a Hero Bot cartoon, come and talk to me. Absolutely. I'm open for anything.
All right, cool. Jeff?
I'm just trying to get my comic books made at this point. That's my goal, and at the moment, anything else would be gravy. But at the moment, gravy feels like getting my comic books done is is what I'm shooting for. So that's, I guess I'm low. My goals are pretty small.
No, but listen, stay on target, right?
Just got to keep working. Yeah.
That's it.
Before you think of world domination, think of like running a town first. I mean, hey, there you go. Run for an HOA presidency. There you go.
My wife absolutely won't let me run for office. She said, I've asked her a couple times and I've been asked, and she says, no way. So, not because I have any skeletons in my closet, but she says, you're too opinionated. Nobody will vote for you. That's the way it is.
Be Randy the Tyrant.
Yeah. I'd run that city council, I'm telling you. But anyway, get them potholes filled. Yeah.
I'm just kind of laughing. It's like I almost want to say, I answer to no man. Like on some, I forgot which fantasy did that. I don't know if it was Lord of the Rings or something, but it's like, I answer to no man. It's like that. I think it was like a famous line, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was the last movie, Return of the King, or the one before that, where no, it's where I think it was, what's her name? Erewhon, who one of the big bad creatures was like, you can't kill me, no man can kill me, and she says, I am no man, and she takes up.
It's just Eowyn in Return of the King.
Yeah,
that's right. That was like the best line in the whole movie. Everyone was like cheering at that point. And he's
the one
like,
that came
oh,
out the
damn,
Viking house, right?
Yeah.
Just swamped with school stuff. Yeah.
Very cool.
So Madeleine, what are you looking to move your project into? Like,
Well, I'm actually I do other projects besides Boston Metaphysical. I do anthologies. I'm doing one for Travis Gibb. I've written a story for Lady Mechanica, which Joe is slowly working on, and
Mhm.
we'll get there eventually. Which is a lot of fun. He and Marcia were great to work with. Obviously, I want to get Pikes Peak done. I mean, that script is written. Uh, but a while back, I had started a novel trilogy. I've gotten the first novel done. That takes place 30 years before any of the graphic novels. It takes place during uh, what I call the House Wars, which is the equivalent of the American Civil War. And there are, like I said, 3 books in it. Last year, I was about 20,000 words into the second novel when my father passed away, and I was executor. So essentially, I just got back to writing about a month ago because there's just so much to do, and I was traveling back and forth and taking care of the house, and yeah.
Sorry about that.
So, and Michael asked what age level is BMS appropriate for? Oh, I always say 10 and above, because there's no bodice ripping, there's no hacking of heads. There is violence, there is death, but there's nothing that she probably hasn't seen on TV or a video game. So, yeah, there are some adult themes because I do deal with classism, sexism, and racism, but it's more an organic part of what my characters have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and not like racism is bad, kind of thing.
Kind
It
of
just
like
provides.
I apologize. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It just provides conflict and kind of grounding for the society that the characters live in.
So it's kind of like Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn, that type of environment kind of thing.
I would think so, but honestly, I don't think I've ever read Huck Finn. I've read a lot of other stuff, but yeah, I don't think I've read that.
Oh, okay. No, I just was wondering, but I was thinking it was like on that allegory type of thing.
It's available in Classics Illustrated if you want to dig it up.
Yeah.
Get a great Cliff Notes version of it.
I bought a hardcover version like a nerd.
All right. Just give me a moment. Jeff has to step out. So Jeff, please let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
All right. Thank you guys, everyone. It was fun checking out your senior books. I definitely want to copy the video that Madeleine, that level of quality. That was fantastic. Anyways, so The End of All Terminus is on Kickstarter right now. The second issue. I'm also going to be found on Traversing the Stars podcast on YouTube. And you can find me all over social media. And thank you again, Michael the Fonte. Always appreciate support. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Jeff, take it easy.
Take care, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
We lost Jeff.
Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Sorry. He had to run.
You had to go. So Jay, what are you looking to move your stuff into?
Oh man, I'm all over the place with this one, Christy.
This closet.
I really am. We gotta move it out of the closet, bro. You know what I mean? We're using it as furniture at this point.
I got a garage. Yeah.
No, I've tested my hand. I spent money trying to get a video game made. You can look at it right now on YouTube. I could have used that money to make 3 books, which went nowhere. So it's a nice looking video. But I could have gotten more credits built out of that. We have put money into action figures, which are going to be coming out, and vinyl figures, which are probably going to be coming out before the action figures. That's what I'm doing on my own right now. When it comes to all the other stuff, I'm still trying to figure out comic books, and trying to figure out toys, to try to figure out how to do anything else. So if anybody wants to come knocking on the door, that's fine. But I'm not a big enough draw yet to have anybody knock on my door. I understand that. doesn't mean I can't be ready for it just in case. So, you know, all my products are, all my IPs are protected, and let's see what happens. But for right now, it's manage what's on my plate, and it is to try to recoup some of the expenses we invested in getting those toys made, and just keep making more comic books right now.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't know. For myself, I mean, listen, I'm so focused. I'm just getting the series finished. And I mean, you know, I got maybe another 1,800 pages before I'm done. So it's like, it's gonna be a while. But I have the artists working on it. And you know, the only other thing I really wanted, there's two things. I want a bronze coin, and I want to do a plush toy. Other than those, and maybe a small figurine, but those are the only three things I really want to do. I think Oswald would be cute as a plush toy. That's why. Just as a little, maybe 4-incher, you know, like 4-inch.
Okay.
You know, I think with a little bow tie, you know, that, a bronze coin, and maybe a small figurine. Like, I don't know if you guys remember these things. Right?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I love this style, and I'm dying to get him like this. And this would be life size for him. So, you know, this would be 1-for-1 scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he a field mouse, or what is he?
I always figured him as a dormouse. I never really, like, you know, he's a magic, you know, he's a wizard. I don't know what the hell he is.
Dormice are unbelievably cute. And then they said, "Oh, the Romans used to eat those." I'm like, now you made me upset.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah, they used to eat them a lot.
oh,
Wait,
was like-
eat them alive?
No,
they
he
wouldn't
eat them a lot.
Oh, I thought you said eat them alive. I'm sorry. I'm like,
They just eat them a lot, you know, like street food.
eat them a lot. Okay.
It's like buffalo wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with
I
it.
mean, normally I'm not that sentimental, but they've got the
Get the
cutest
right
thing about
sauce.
them.
You're
Like,
good. Yeah.
Listen, if I can eat rabbit, it's not that much of a stretch from there, right?
well, I hate bunnies anyway, but there you go. You can have.
But you hate bunnies personally, or you hate the taste?
I
of
hate
them?
bunnies personally. They die too easily as pets. Like
Oh,
we
they
tried
die.
everything to like. I had a friend in 4-H. She taught us how to raise rabbits, and they don't make it. There's a reason why those fuckers run around and have sex with everything, and breed a lot. It's quantity, not quality.
Very frail.
Yeah, it. Trust me.
I understand that reference.
Hey, JD. DM Ray, I'm not signed in, so I can't answer him. DM Ray had asked how many pre-launch followers I had, and it's about 380.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Good.
But I started like a month ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend that you start at least a month ahead of time.
Yeah, don't do like some of us who just launch and then launch and then launch again.
You mean like you?
Well, you know, like I said, like some of us don't, you know, listen to the professional.
And here I thought I was being lame doing it 2 or 3 months in advance, and I'm like, I thought I was like not enough time.
I think
No,
we started
and
our campaign about 3 or 4 months in advance. Russ started a mailing list. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I will never argue with that. That is the smart way to do it.
Mhm.
You know,
Madeleine brought this up before, but I'm loving that backer kit pre-launch. Not pre-launch.
Yeah, the launch.
Yeah.
Backer
yeah,
kit launch. Yeah.
I love it. You know, the stats alone on that drive me bananas, though, because I am nowhere near where I feel I need to be with my re-ups. You know, I only get about maybe 20 to 30% of the people coming back in my lifetime of campaigns. And I'm like, how do I grab them? You know,
just gotta keep working at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I got a couple of softballs for everybody. So here's one. What is the comic series or book that drove you to make better comics? You know, what is the series that you're looking to either aspire to or just makes you like, you know what, I want to try to live up to that on some level. You know, Randy, what are your thoughts?
I think it all depends on the project that I'm working on. There's so much great stuff out there. Right off the bat, I did a video a few years ago about the books I'm really thankful for. Right off the bat, I would say Manhunter by Walt Simonson and Archie Goodwin. Just top-notch superhero stuff, and long before all these heroes ended up getting rebooted and rebooted, Archie took a World War II 1940s character and updated it to the 70s, and did a phenomenal job with it. Just a great series. Kirby's imagination on the Fourth World stuff, New Gods, Forever People, Mr. Miracle, all comes to mind. There are just so many really good things. Horror stuff. You look at the Eries and Creepies and the Swamp Things. Funny animal material. Aniverse is really sprung off of Carl Barks and the duck books, or the duck work that he did that hardly anybody wants to talk about anymore. Just great adventure material. There's so much great stuff out there, and it's all inspirational. That's why I do the podcast on Friday morning and Sunday morning. We pull this stuff out in order to take a look at it. Some of it, like the book we went through today, I hadn't looked in for like 25, 30 years. It's sitting on a shelf, and that stuff's just phenomenal. Layouts and we look at the artwork and the story and all of that. There's just so much great material out there. You can't, nail it down to a specific. But that Manhunter for me is a big one. That was very impressionable upon my youth. And the Kirby material. I remember sitting at home and having the neighbors walk up, "What are you reading?" And then you got to try to describe New Gods to them. Good luck, that kind of thing. Just so much good material out there.
All right, cool. Madeleine, what are your thoughts?
I came to comics very late in life, and I was never a superhero fan. In fact, I didn't even know there was any other comics other than superhero comics until I adapted Boston Metaphysical into a comic and went back to school and started reading all this indie material, and was kind of pissed off that no one had told me that this had existed before, because these were like great stories, and this is what I was interested in, not the superhero stuff. And so I have to say, one of them, Jeff Lemire's Ascender and Descender, was great on many levels. But I also like Lady Killer from Dark Horse. That's one of my faves. And particularly the attention to detail with the Felix the cat and the sunbeam, clock and the sunbeam blender in the background. Appreciate all those nuances. Why the Last Man? I mean, there's a bunch of them. So,
all right, cool. Christie, what are your thoughts?
Well, for me, I kind of got into underground comics because it's not that the standards weren't good. It was like I just didn't have to be held to a certain level of rules. I realized, like, what I'm really heavily influenced by. I mean, I looked at all sorts of comics. I would look at Maggie and Jigs. I'd look at all sorts of things like, oh, what's this weird freaking comic? Oh, let me read it. And I kind of blame my mom because she was trying to get me into an Ivy League school because we lived near Stanford at the time. And so obviously she said, and I said, I'm going to look at the books because it was a little bookworm. And then I picked up Matt Groening's Life in Hell, and well, that screwed everything up for me. So, these observations. So it's like as a kid in 5th grade, having all the hell books, we called them. And, I'm kind of at this point now where it's like I kind of learned to follow my own rules, which is interesting because sometimes people can use that as a cop-out. Like I can just do shitty, stupid things and not be held to any standard. But what I liked about Life in Hell is that it made observations, and it was kind of a smart-ass thing like I did. I also feel that there were other books that I kind of like studied and copied as a kid. Like I would remember things from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns and like look at the pictures at the time. Obviously this is pre-internet, and just copy them and study like how they did the composition. A lot of comics that I liked, I would go and, study the composition, copy the characters and all that. And mind you, people, if you come back and go and shit on me about this, I was a kid and I was doing studies. So shut the hell up. That's actually a legitimate thing. And, but I think it's just like, sort of like I delve into my own psyche and just like sometimes it's just go, like I'll just have a go moment and just do the comic, or I'll come up with some ideas, jot them down. There is no direct formula that I do. It's just, I just go do it. And with Demon Bitch, it's sort of like interesting because they're just one shot punch in the face things. There's other stories that I've worked on. I haven't mentally pulled the trigger yet on them. It has to be a go for me, like they say in Agony and Ecstasy, you know, where Michelangelo had to just go and he just did it all in one thing. It wasn't like he super planned it out. I mean, he had it, he mapped it out, but it was just like go, 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 go. I haven't got, if I have it with an idea or thing, that's what I've learned to do. And that's when it's turned out to be the most successful with people and in general, in terms of wit and personal liking and personal satisfaction to public satisfaction. But for me, it's like, I don't know if I can really hold to my standard, because to be honest, I'm kind of doing my own thing. And somehow that works for me, and people really like that, because I would get held back a lot by people saying like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this. And there is a difference. I am aware of that. But just for me, it's just go, 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 do your own thing. And that seems to work the best for me. And again, I'm not crapping on anybody that works for anybody else or the big companies or something. It's just Demon Bitch, I found my thing. And I would say a lot of that has the primogeniture of Matt Groening in terms of delivery. Now that I'm looking at it and I really think about it, the majority part, at least that's what I'm focused on. But, you know, I was focused on anime. I was focused on other things. So I think, I don't know if it's like a personal journey, but it's like there are times, and maybe Johnny Ryan is kind of my inspiration on this. Like I just sit there and it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't write about that. And it's like, oh, it turns out like I should have. That's what he was quoted at once. So I'm kind of going like, you know, if I draw it and I'm like, holy shit, I don't know. But then I put it out and it's really good. And it's not like, oh, I'm just doing it to be mean. It's just like people really resonate with it. People think it's funny. People comment like, dude, I went through this, you know, shit like this. Or or what I've been told is like, you say the shit everybody wants to say, but no one has the courage to say it. So it's like, okay, I'll take that as a win. Mm-hmm. So, and again, I'm not trying to sound arrogant to say that. It's just that that's just how it's worked out for me. And I guess I've kind of hold myself to my own set of self standards, although I've given up entirely on self-criticizing myself because I never found that helpful. And maybe that's what's made me unable to do that. So I'm kind of using as art as my own personal journey to shit. And yeah. And Vic Du says Demon Bitch is great despite the thrift store bikinis. Like, yeah, she's pretty nasty. But yeah, that's all I'm saying is that I guess maybe I was kind of thinking about this earlier in the show while I was listening to everybody else, but it's kind of like now I get Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails, why he was popular. It wasn't because, oh, he had a great sound or something, but it was, I've heard this from a friend a long time ago, back in the day when he released Downward Spiral and Pretty Hate Machine. But it kind of hits me now because it's like, because I'm sort of living it. And again, I'm not saying I'm like Trent Reznor. I'm not trying to say I'm like anybody, but they said his people like his music because it's absolutely no bullshit. And it's kind of there. And it's interesting because that journey into that almost destroyed him. Like he had to have rehab stints. He got into hard drugs. And somehow I have a good thing of self-preservation to know that, you know, Christie and hard drugs would probably not be a good combination. Probably would come out really, really horrible because I have that darker side in myself, which I can contain and manage and work well with in what I'm doing now. But I don't think I could do it like if I had to be messed up on some sort of substance. It's like I barely drink anyway because of my condition. But, you know, I don't know. It's like for me, this is kind of a personal journey. It's more of a spiritual journey, I guess, if one wants to say that, because it's funny because I write the most pissed off book ever, but people feel absolved while walking from me like a church confession. So I don't know, even though people tell me I'm Demon Bitch. So I kind of laugh into that irony too.
All right. Fair enough. Jay, what are your inspirations, sir?
The Mark here. You know, I grew up reading superhero comic books. I loved the Captain America run with Mark Greenwell and Kieran Dyer. That was it for me. That informed, you know, one of the main titles that I write. But then I found Matt Wagner's Mage, and it found a way to incorporate so many different mythologies. You know, you had the bad guy who came from this mythology, and you had the sidekick who came from this one, and you had the main character who was inspired by this one, but loved he was in love with a character from another mythology, but you know, it just okay, cool. It blended all those elements together.
That's a property in desperate need of a reprinting.
Yo, big time, dude. I
It
got
really
all my
is.
originals,
Yeah,
man.
way
Yeah,
past you. Yeah.
I got all my originals. But then a few months ago, I found a book that made me feel like I was a kid again. And people had been talking about it, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And I'm at a comic book shop in the mall with my wife and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to kill time while I'm holding their bags and they're doing the Christmas shopping. And I picked up the trade of Do a Powerbomb. And I felt like a kid. I read the entire trade while I was sitting down in the mall waiting for mom to finish shopping, right? So that triggered the nostalgia in there for a moment. But the guy took the absurd. He doubled down on the absurd, but put it in a, I guess, a plausible narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Made it work for what it was. Kept me engaged and made me fucking cry on the last page like a kid. And again, I was in the mall. I couldn't put it down. I was rushing to read it because I'm like, oh my God, I got to finish this book before my wife and my mom finish the Christmas shopping for the family, you know? And it just felt like I was a kid again reading this. And here I am, you know, in my 40s doing this. And it struck me just being such an entertaining story. Again, what he used to build it, but how it made me feel, what it brought me back to. Not specifically reading that stuff because it never came out again. You know, the devil hosting an intergalactic wrestling match with, you know, a father and daughter. What? But it just fucking worked for the story it was. But it made me feel like I was a young man again reading comic books, and I couldn't wait to finish it. And
there you go.
I want to achieve that feeling in the books that I'm making. You know, I don't want it to feel like just like, oh, this is money well spent, but it's also bringing you back to a time where, you know what, maybe you're reading on the dining room table and it's distracting you for a few minutes from everything that's going around you.
That's the goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah. Daniel Warren Johnson doing great work.
He is, dude. I'm picking up the Transformers. I don't know why. I don't like the Transformers, but it's got me carrying them over, bro.
Yeah.
I saw fucking awesome statue of Nemesis Prime because I went to Little Tokyo earlier today, and they had all these like model things and model kits from Berserk to Transformers to Iron Man, everything, the Japanese style models. They had Nemesis Prime. It must have been like 2 feet tall.
Let me tell you, I'm not the Transformer fan, but I got a cousin who is, and the dude spent top dollar buying all the Japanese import real metal stuff. He's and if you're familiar with Transformers, there's this one called the Constructicons, Devastator.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of heavy machinery. It's a 3 foot tall metal robot in his office. Christy. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how much did you spend on it? It's like 2 car payments, you know? I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, Michael, I can do better than that. I'll send JD a picture of it.
There you go.
I took a picture of it today because that fucker is awesome.
That's
there
cool.
You go. Nemesis Prime in all his glory. And yes, I am a Transformers fan. Optimus is my fucking favorite hero. So I messaged you, JD. It's like that Nemesis Prime was tits. It was awesome. It was like 3 feet. I think that was probably die-cast metal by the looks of it.
All right. So, Chrissy, this is why I don't like Transformers, because they dropped the ball with Ultra Magnus and Rodimus Prime. They should have been the combo, not Rodimus Prime carrying a trailer, even though he's a hot rod car. You know,
well, they had to make him stodgy and old, so they had to make him into a fucking RV. That was like annoying as shit.
Stupid. He should have just
apologized all the
Ultra Magnus, who was the car transport vehicle.
Yeah, well, the thing is that here's the thing. Okay, they take a young guy and he matures into a leader. I'm all for that trope.
Yes.
But they made him fucking apologize for the rest of the G2 show. And like, I can't be ever the leader. I'm like, okay, I understand if you're stepping into the shoes of somebody bigger than you, But holy shit, stop whinging about it every
Yeah.
5 fucking minutes when you're alone. I understand it was a kid's show and they had to show the inner conflict and growth, but after I'm like, God, dude, what the hell? You're carrying the Matrix. Like, stop. Why did the Matrix choose you?
The Netflix reboot that went 3 seasons was pretty good.
Yeah, I heard that was good. Like, I haven't gotten around.
Give it a
to
shot.
sitting down.
Give it a
Yeah.
shot. You're gonna like it.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it the one written by Brandon Easton? He's busy.
Yes, Brandon wrote.
Yeah, he's good.
Brandon
He's
wrote
good.
on season 1. He's the one that got me in on it, and I was like, bro, it's fucking
Yeah,
great shit.
Brandon and I have met several times. He's really cool.
Brandon's
really cool
awesome, awesome guy.
Really nice guy too. On top of that, he's a nice guy. So, but yeah, like I sent you the Nemesis Prime. It's fucking awesome. You got to show Michael that, man.
Yeah.
Because come on, give Michael a view because he's backed like Jeff and Madeleine. You owe it to him.
Yeah.
You have to owe it to him.
You owe it to him. You owe it to him, Calderon.
Yep. Gotta post it.
Gotta post it. Yes, I got it. It's coming.
Gotta show it on here. Show it to him.
You see, when the smartest one on the panel today says you got to post it, you got to listen to the lady, bro. Come on, put it up, Hammer.
It's
quickie.
It's coming. It's coming.
Lag.
Yes,
Go to Newegg
that's my
and
problem. Yeah.
Go to Newegg and get a new rig. I love Newegg. I endorse them fully.
Oh yeah. That's actually that's the next step. You know,
and your previous job, you pretty much could have walked out with one, bud. You could have walked out with a brand new one.
I probably could have walked out with 3
You're
of them.
such a webbo head. You're such a webbo head.
I mean, that's like great for us artists. Like, it's like, oh shit, I don't have this much money. I only have so much money. Oh wait, there's Newegg. I'll just buy a gaming rig, and like, there you go. There's my things with multiple monitors, all, and like all the inputs and memory and everything. I don't have to think about everything. Because it's like, I remember the time when Pentiums came out, and it's like that was kind of straightforward to like know about. And then now there's so many architectures and bridges. I'm like, holy shit, this is a whole new system. I can't think about this. That's when I started to feel age a little bit.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Jay, do me a favor.
We're waiting.
Yeah, I know.
Get a
My
shot,
screen.
man.
Yeah, it's not happening. That's all I'm saying.
Not happening. Okay.
It's not happening. All right. So let's bring the show. We're at the almost at the 2-hour mark. So Madeleine, where can they find you and your work? Please.
Right now, we're on Kickstarter for 10 more days. Just type in Boston Metaphysical or hit one of the links you put up and it'll be right there. Otherwise, you can find me on my website, Boston Metaphysical Society, or Queen of Mercia. It's the same thing. That's my corporate overlord name. And I'm on Facebook, Boston Metaphysical Society, Twitter, M. Holly-Rosing, or what used to be Twitter. And Blue Sky. I don't even know how you would say Blue Sky. Just type in my name. You'll find it.
It's become a job. You know, it's another job.
Too many.
Yes. Yep.
There's just
Way
too
too
many.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Randy, you want to let people know where they can find you because Calderon seems to be.
Just look for me on Facebook. Screw everybody else. Screw the rest of the platforms. You know, I'm on X too, but that's kind of just where the trolls are. I like Facebook. I can just post memes and talk about my stuff and maybe share some of my stuff, and you'll find me there, Randy Zimmerman. You'll know it's my page by the drawings that are up there. Other than that, the Indy Comics Network, I do 2 shows. Friday morning, Comics by Night, 5 a.m. Eastern time, so that I can catch Russ and Glenn just after brunch over there in England. We talk about and show off the stuff that really inspires us and that we love. Also, Sunday Funnies at 9 a.m. on Sundays, same thing, only a little bit more odder material. Like that, the book we went through today was... I don't have it. Well, there it is. There it is. We went through Future Day, which is an odd book of Gene Day's short stories, and very few people in the market are familiar with Gene Day, and they ought to be. It's some absolutely phenomenal stuff. But other than that, you look for me at aerocomics.store, where I have a lot of my stuff, but most importantly, Shadow Kingdom, over at fundmycomic.com, the Shadow Kingdom. And I want to thank, if that person is out there, I noticed that we got an additional backer since we've been on the air, and I want to thank them if they're out there. Thank you very much for backing that project. We are really hoping to get 200 backers at least by the time this campaign's done. It's only 5 days left to go, and it's going to be a great book. I can't stress that enough. It's just a classic story and a lot of fun.
Nice.
So other than that, before we go, I want to mention two things we missed, and I haven't seen this enough in the media. There were two great, passionate comic book people that passed, not counting Ed Piskor, that tragedy. Mark Bright passed earlier, and you might not be familiar with that name, but if you've been collecting comics as long as the at least the three of us have, Rom, Transformers, G.I. Joe, he was there, and he was a genuine workhorse in this industry. He passed, I believe, within the last week. And Bob Bierbaum, who was a very passionate retailer, who was right there at the start of the direct market, and in fact was working on a history book about the direct market. He had more information than most anybody, well, pretty much everybody else in the market, especially when it came to the origins of the direct market. And it's very sad to see him pass before that work got out there, because it's an important part of this art form's history, is the formation of the direct market. And both of those people will be sorely missed, and their contributions were great to this industry. Mm-hmm. So they're very passionate about this art form, and sorry to see them leave.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Sorry to end on a downer, but
yeah.
All
right.
It's okay. That's my daily life.
Christie, where can they find you, Christie?
Well, I'm found everywhere on all social media that I could possibly find, spreading my shit at Horror Taurus Studios. I'm also found on Facebook at Christie Shinn, so you can probably see me. If you see my fucking mug up there, then that's me. And number two, if it says something like about like peace and love and some stupid bullshit, then you found a clone. That happened once, and my friends all trashed it.
Well, that's funny.
Oh yeah, like it showed my face. Somebody cloned it, and somebody tried to catfish as me. And then it said,
oh
it put like this generic stuff around. It said peace and love. And I'm like, and they said, that's not you. As I said, no, it's not me. Go ahead and fuck with them. Okay. And so they went ahead and messed with them.
Good on
so
them.
It was great.
That must
By
have
the
been
way,
fun.
I don't endorse online harassment, guys, just the catfishers. They're assholes. Number two, and so number two, Madeleine will be on my show, the Drawstream, on this network, Indy Comics Network, for lunch hour, Wednesdays, noon Pacific Standard Time. So check that out. And I've also put my store in there. And you could just check me out on Global Comics and Patreon and Webtoon if you want to go ahead and take a look at the whole Demon Bitch thing. If you want to order anything, order from my store. I sign the books personally, and I will ship them to you personally. I'll probably write something awful in them. But yeah, prints and everything. I have all this stuff in, like art. I am doing Chatsworth Block Party with Julio Galvez over at the We Can Be Heroes. That's up on my Facebook. But I also will be in Calgary Expo in Canada. Yes. I'll probably be cold and hopefully not dying, because I'm from California and I can't deal with that inclement weather. And I'll be up there. Don Wynn will be also up there, and we will be up in Calgary Expo. So chances are I probably won't die. But
when is that?
Yeah.
That is Calgary Expo. Let me take a look. Give me a moment. Hate having a few monitors. So Calgary Expo will be on the 25th to the 28th, and it will be at Stampede Park. Chatsworth Block. I'm a guest there, and Chatsworth Blockfest is on the 13th. So I'm glad I got my fucking taxes done way ahead of time, so I don't need to think about that. And that is from 10 to 6.
Yep.
Near We Can Be Heroes. It's kind of like weird because it's
JD
on
left us again.
in Chatsworth at Eton and DeSoto. So go ahead and download the graphic on my Facebook. It is open to the public.
Okay. Awesome.
And check out Madeleine down below. I will be releasing copy for that pretty soon.
Cool. Nice. You can find me at unstoppablecomics.com. All of my social media links are on that website, unstoppablecomics.com. And you could find Jose Calderon here on Indy Comics Explained. You can catch him on his Kickstarter, which has a few more days left, with Magi's Grace. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And thank you, panel, for sharing your projects with us and sharing your experience with everybody who's been watching.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it.
it's good.
Hopefully, Calderon gets a new computer by next week.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Good idea.
You know,
if anybody in the Midwest, if you're around the Kalamazoo area, I'll be at the Grand Rapids Con in Kalamazoo this next weekend. So swing by. I'll be moderating some panels and having some fun selling some Arrow comics. So
nice.
if you stop by, I'll give you a free comic.
Way to be. All right, everybody. Good night.
Take care, everyone. We can't end the show until JD comes back. So we might as well just keep talking.
How's it going?
Yeah. Well, you know what, Chrissy, you have access to the panel.
I thought I did, but apparently now I don't because I didn't log in the best way ever.
I think we're on JD's StreamYard anyway, and not the main Indie Comics network, or I'd be able to get back there too.
Yeah, I don't have access to it either. Wow, this has been one hell of a night, folks. Let me tell you.
JD, if you're out there, you're going to have to get back into the room in order to end the show. So please come back.
Yeah.
Come back. Come back.
Come back.
Oh my God, I feel like this has been a bad Muppets episode. You know what I mean?
Let me actually try going in another way. Let me leave the studio and go back in because I did it through the StreamYard link he gave me. So let me see if I can go in another way.
Go ahead.
He said just leave. Hold on.
This is great.
Just leave.
Just leave.
That's funny.
Okay.
And now
He just
Christy's
says just
gone.
leave.
Just
leave.
Right. Way to be, Calderon. All right, guys and gals.
We're still counting here.
Have a good night.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. And I guess I'll go too. Take care, everyone. Shadow Kingdom, fundmycomic.com. # always be promoting. Later.